blood squirting out, glued to the board. Well, after that, there was 4 left, Mr. Head, just 4. There was the one called Pollita, the one that called Shorty, the one that called Roach, and the one they called Tattletale. Well, that night they got on the phone and they all started talking. And they said, what are we going to do? This ghost is going to kill us one by one. And the one who called herself Roach said, I ain't scared of that pinchy ghost. They said, why not? She said, if that ghost comes around, I'm just going to shoot it. They said, you dummy, you can't shoot a ghost. She said, yeah, you watch me. I ain't scared. And she hung up. Well, the other one started talking. They said, what are we going to do, Shorty? Shorty said, don't worry, Lucas. I got the plan. I got the master plan. I will go online tonight, and I will figure out how to kill a ghost. Don't worry, girls. I'll get us out of this. Well, later that night, the one who called herself Roach was in her bed trying to sleep. When all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, she got a funny feeling. She woke up. She looked around, and she could hear something outside her door. It sounded like a rusty locker opening and closing. It went, Well, she got up. She reached under her bed. She got her gun out. She cocked it. She crept up to her door, and when she got there, she put her ear to the door and she listened, and she could hear that sound again going, She said, okay, little ghost girl, it's on. I'll show you how we do it, Loca style. She went, 1, 2, 3, and she burst through the door and pointed the gun. And right there on the floor was her little brother playing with his fire truck, and he looked up at her and he said, what's that? She said, you little idiot, you scared the hell out of me. And she hit him in the head. He said, ow. He said, not to kick me, Roach. Sheesh. And he took his fire truck with the rusty ladder, and he walked away. Well, Roach went back to bed. She said, I ain't scared of no pinchy ghost. And she went in her room. Well, the next morning, her little brother was down having his breakfast, and he was eating his tortillas. When all of a sudden he looked up, he noticed that Roach wasn't there. He said, Mommy, where's Roach? And she said, oh, that stupid girl. She's in her room. Go get her. So her little brother ran to the room. He knocked on the door. Knock, knock, knock. He said, Roach, are you there? There was no answer. He opened up the door. He looked inside. Roach was under her covers in her bed, just laying there. He said, Roach, come on, you're going to be late for school. Let's go. And he pulled back the covers of her bed. Ah! He screamed. There she was on the bed, her arms out at her side, her mouth wide open, filled with squirming, wiggling cockroaches. There were so many roaches that her whole throat was swollen up and it was wiggling with the roaches. And there was 2 roaches stuffed up in her nose and 2 stuffed in her eyes and 2 stuffed in her ears. And she was dead. Oh, so sad. After that, there was just 3 left. Mr. Head, easy. Good help is so hard to find. Yes, there was only 3 left. The one they called Shorty, the one they called Pollita, and the one they called Tattletale. Well, they all met on the pea field later that day, and they were all crying. And then Shorty showed up. She said, don't worry, Lucas. I figured it out. I'll get us out of this. It's no problem. They said, what? How are we going to get rid of this ghost? She said, Lucas, I figured it out. I won the internet last night. All you have to do to get rid of a ghost is throw holy water on it. And look, I stole holy water from a church last night. They said, oh, good job. Oh, way to go, Shorty. You're the best. She said, yeah, no problem. That stupid priest was running after me saying, don't take the holy water. It's no good. I said, hey, I'll see you later, sucker. So all we have to do is get that ghost to come out, and everything will be fine. We'll get rid of it. They said, how are we going to get the ghost to come out? And Taylor said, yeah, how are we going to get the ghost to come out? They said, don't worry, Lucas. They said Nancy had a little sister. Her name is Esmeralda. We'll just get her. So later that day, they went over to her little Esmeralda, Hernandez's class was. And they went in and they wrote a fake note and they gave it to Pollita. Pollita walked into the classroom. She gave it to the teacher. The teacher looked at it. He said, oh, Esmeralda Hernandez, you've been called to the office. You have to go. Well, the Esmeralda said, okay. She got her stuff. She walked out of the classroom. And as soon as the Esmeralda Hernandez walked out of the classroom, those girls grabbed her and they threw her in her bathroom. They all started shoving her and pushing her. And they said, what's up now? You're the little sister of Nancy, aren't you? The girl who died. And the Esmeralda said, yes, why? They said, we have a question for you. They said, yes. They said, what did the knuckles say to the nose? She said, I don't know. Smack! Bam! And they hit her in the face. Her nose went back and started bleeding. She said, oh, you punched me in the face. What's wrong with you? All of a sudden, they heard footsteps coming from outside the bathroom. The bathroom door flew open. And Pollita screamed, now! Shorty pulled out her holy water. She threw it at the door. Ah! A bright light went up. For a minute, they were all blind. They looked. They said, do you think the ghost is gone? They said, let's check. They went up to little Esmeralda. Shorty sized her up. She slapped her across the face. Esmeralda started crying, and they waited to see if the ghost would attack. But nothing happened. They said, oh, that ghost is gone. So they turned to Esmeralda and they said, hey, little ghost sister can't protect you now, little girl. From now on, you're going to be our slave. Now get out of here. And they kicked her in the butt. Ah! She ran out of the bathroom with her nose bleeding, and she ran all the way home crying. Oh, poor me. Oh, so sad. Oh, little girl. She ran all the way to her room. She turned on her shower, and she let it run. She wanted to watch the blood, but she was too upset. So she sat on the ground crying. Oh, poor me. Well, as she's sitting there crying, the bathroom started filling up with steam. In fact, it steamed up the bathroom mirror. And all of a sudden, on the steamed up bathroom mirror, she heard a squeaky sound. Little Esmeralda looked up. She couldn't believe her eyes. Even though, Mr. Head, turn off that faucet. Need we say, good help is hard to find. So, yes, she was in the bathroom, and the mirror was steamed up. When she looked up, she said, she saw words forming on the steamed up mirror, and she said, oh my God. And it looked like somebody was writing something, and they wrote D-O-N''TWORRY. What does that spell? Even some of you can figure that out. Don't worry. She said, is that you, Nancy? Did you write, don't worry? But there was no answer. Well, the next day, little Esmeralda was in school. She was in her room doing her little schoolwork, and all of a sudden, in walked that black widow, the one called Poyita, and she had another fake note. She walked in, she walked up to the teacher and gave it to the teacher. The teacher looked at it and he said, oh, Esmeralda, they want you in the office again. She said, no, teacher, no, it's a fake note. I'm not going to go. He said, what's this drama? Just go. God. So she had to go. As soon as she walked outside the classroom, the girls grabbed her again, and they dragged her in the bathroom, and they all started pushing and shoving her, and they said, what's up, little slave girl? And she said, I'm not your slave. They said, oh, yes, you are, little girl. They said, your first job as a slave is going to be to clean this bathroom floor with your tongue. She said, no, I won't do it, I won't do it. They said, well, then we're going to cut off your ear, little girl. What do you think of that? She said, I'm not going to clean the bathroom floor with my tongue, so you might as well. They said, okay. Your wish is our command, little girl. And they grabbed her, and Poyita held her ear out. And Shorty reached in her pocket and took out a switchblade knife. She said, say goodbye to your ear, little girl. They're going to call you One Ear from now on.